So, we're going to edit these photos. I've just grabbed some up on my phone here that I took earlier this week. Your phone or tablet or device, iPad, whatever it is, actually nowadays has some really good photo editing software in it that you can use to make adjustments and tweaks and try and improve the quality of your photo. If you want, you can also get pretty wacky with them nowadays, play with the colors and stuff like that. But for now, we're just trying to improve the look of your photo, to make it a little bit more eye-catching. Here's some photos that I took this week, like a tube, I think that one was. Nice little blurry background leaf. Some roots growing outside in the garden at school, looking up a tree, and a nice wiggly worm that we found under a rock. I'm going to go back to this one here, this little leaf, and let's have a look at editing that. So you can see top of my screen there, I've got a few different buttons. I've got info, I've got share, I've got like, I've got edit, and then I've got the bin icon. I want to press that little pencil, the edit icon. So let's tap on that and let's see what we can do. So we're going to get a whole bunch of options on the right, or it might be on the bottom of your screen. Depends what you're using to edit with. The first thing I'm going to do, actually, just to make this a little bit easier to look at, is I'm going to rotate this. Let's just whack it sideways quickly. I may turn it back again in a minute, but because I'm editing on a phone here, and you are watching it in landscape, I would like to just make it a little bit easier to see. I should still be able to see what I'm doing. I may crop it later, something like this, perhaps make that leaf a bit more central, but we'll see. I'll leave that for now, I think. Obvious way to do edits that you'll see a lot of people do is filters. They're okay. Filters can be okay. What you can't do with filters is have really much control over them. You can sort of do this a bit, and some filters will let you control some more settings. Well, that's kind of cool. Is it better though? I don't know. I quite like the green, really. So yeah, you can use filters if you want, but it'll be obvious. I'll be able to tell. Unless you just use them very subtly. Sometimes just a subtle use as part of your edit can be quite good. Anyway, I want to go to adjustments. Where's that? This little icon here, adjust. So that's going to give me the most important photo editing adjustments that I can use. So I've got brightness. I can make it brighter or darker. Yeah. Let's put that back. I've got contrast. That makes, well, it makes things stand out more. I suppose it makes the dark things darker and the light things lighter, and you have to be a bit careful with contrast. You want good contrast in your photo, but you don't want to go too far. You see, if I go a little bit, that looks great. If I go all the way, it looks a bit wacky. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look very realistic, does it? So you just have to be a bit careful. So let's pop that back over here somewhere. That's quite nice. I might actually go a smidge brighter. General rule of thumb, go a little bit brighter and a little bit more contrast, and that will often look good. Let's just compare. That's probably a bit too much, actually, a bit too bright. Yeah, maybe a bit too much contrast. Let's just have to have a little play around until you got it how you like it. That's looking a bit better. What I don't want to do is lose the detail on the leaf, because that reflection, the shine on it, is too bright. So just be a bit careful. So saturation, I tend to push up just a smidge normally, but it depends on what your photo is. Actually, I think the greens in this will stand out nicely if we just push them up a little bit. Yeah, they were a little bit dark before. They really pop out like that. Sharpness is sort of a little bit of a fake effect, this one. It adds a bit of an outline where it thinks things that are in focus should be. You can see that there. It's trying to make the leaf stand out more, and the bottom of this, whatever this stick is in the middle, that sort of reddish stick. Actually, it doesn't look too bad, that sharpen. I'm not going to go quite that much though. I'll just go a little bit of a sharpen, something like that, just to help make that leaf really pop out against the background. I just keep pressing the compare button. That's why the image changes. So I've got the edited image and the original, just to compare. Going to want to play with these colors in a minute. This brown at the bottom is going quite pinky orange, so I'm going to have to look at that in a second. Highlights, if your image has some very bright highlights on it, they're a bit too bright, you can just tone them down with this. What you don't want to do is take it too far that it goes grey. You see that's going a bit grey there, it doesn't look great. Actually, I probably just want to leave the highlights about where it is. Maybe just a tiny touch more. Shadows does the same thing, but instead of with the highlights, it does it to the shadows. So the darker patches, you can make them darker, even more so than they already are. Or if your picture is generally a bit dark, you can pull it up to sort of see stuff a bit better. You can see again, if you go too far, it looks a bit wacky. You see all those greens are really blown out there, looking a bit weird. On this one, I think I might go a smidge darker, just a tiny bit, because I want that background to just sort of fade away a bit and my foreground to really stand out. Now, hue is a fun one. It's not a person. Hue is another word for the color tone, right? It's mostly useful if you took a photo inside, actually, that one, and you just need to adjust the color slightly. Do I want to buff the green a bit? Maybe. It sort of makes it a little bit colder. In fact, on this camera, this setting seems to make it more warm or cold, doesn't it? On some devices, it makes it green or purple, and there's also a warmth setting, but this one doesn't seem to have that. Yeah, I'm going to make it a little bit colder. So there we go. Something like that looks quite nice now, I think. If we compare that to the original, yeah. We don't want to take it too much further because it will start looking unrealistic. As you can see, I've already started losing some of the detail by making those darks, the shadows darker. By when I upped the contrast and the shadows, I pushed the shadows back down. So yeah, you don't want to lose too much, but yeah, I'm just going to press the little tick to make sure I've saved those changes. And then if I wanted to play with some other things, I could. I think the only other thing I really want to look at is the crop and maybe whether I want to rotate it back the original way. Let's go to rotation. See, would it look better if that leaf is a bit straighter like that? It's quite cool, actually. I worry that it's a bit too far over to one side now. Now I look at it, this image has gone very blue as well, hasn't it? We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually going to undo that little undo button there. I'm going to go with a crop instead. I'm just going to take a little bit of that section off. I'm going to leave about a third negative space on the right. I'm just going to take a little bit in those edges, just to focus a little bit more on that leaf. And do I want to rotate it back? Let's have a look. Well, it looks quite nice upside down, actually, doesn't it? That was the original way round. No, I think I quite liked it that way, actually. Cool. So I'm going to leave it there. And all I need to do is just press the little save button. Top right, the little floppy disk icon. Ask your parents what a floppy disk is if you're not sure. And if they don't know, get them to ask your grandparents. So, press save. And now I have got that picture saved. So there's the original one, and then there's my updated version. It's not vastly different, but we just made a few changes to brighten it up. I'm still thinking about whether I should have made it a bit warmer, but anyway, there we go. So that's how you edit on a phone. The same applies to on an iPad or any kind of tablet, or even if you do it on, you could do it on Google Photos online, or there's lots of other free apps like Canva, things like that you can use. There are lots and lots and lots of ways you can do this. Those are the basic options, and that's how I would go about editing a photo. Please send them to me if you do that. You know how to do it. I'd love to see them. That'd be great. All right. See you soon.